Welcome, everyone, and welcome to part six of our 8-part series, Advancing Healthy Aging webinar series. I would like to let everyone know that this webinar is recorded in both English and Spanish. With that being said, this series is designed with you in mind to provide valuable insights and tools that can empower you to navigate age-related conversations and support healthy aging within your local community. Our team would like to thank the USDA Rural Health and Safety Education Grant, which has made this series possible. Part of our grant is to collect data and feedback on this series. So at the end of the webinar and in a follow-up email, we will share a link to an optional quick survey in both English and Spanish. Our team very much appreciates your participation in this survey. Your data will be kept confidential and used to inform future programming and other healthy aging initiatives within CSU Extension. Lastly, we will be answering questions at the end of the session. Please add your questions to the Q&A feature at the bottom of your screen. The chat will be closed for participants, but we will be adding links for resources throughout the presentation. With that, I would like to introduce Kat Laws and Cheryl Noble. Kat Laws is a community health educator for the UCHealth Aspen Club of Northern Colorado. While her background is in health and exercise science, the health promotion track from Colorado State University, she has dedicated the last 9 years of her career to advanced care planning education and assistance. Kat has experienced how fragile life can be, and her mission is to help others plan ahead and communicate what matters most, well ahead of ever needing a plan. Through her working roles at the Health District of Northern Larimer County and the UCHealth Aspen Club, Kat has helped thousands of individuals through employee campaigns, community education and training, and the individual assistance to complete and share their advanced directives for healthcare. The UCHealth Aspen Club is a nonprofit health and wellness program that has served those age 50 and forward throughout Northern Colorado since 1989. Aspen Club provides a wide range of program benefits in Fort Collins, Loveland, Greeley, Longmont, and surrounding areas. Services include health and wellness education, advanced care planning, Medicare education and counseling assistance. They are a ship site for Larimer County and Weld County, and a variety of health settings. We invite you to inquire more of our services and program information through their website, uchealth.org/Aspen Club. Cheryl is a colleague and managed the Healthy Aging programs at Larimer County CSU Extension for 3.5 years. Her programs included Senior Access Points that connects older adults and their families with aging resources. And she also implemented advanced care planning at Extension, doing community presentations and assisting residents with their healthcare directives. Now retired, Cheryl volunteers her time as an advocate for advanced directives. Welcome, Kat, and it's great to work with you again, Cheryl. We're excited to learn more about how we can all be better prepared with advanced directives.
Hello. Hello. Yes, thanks, Ginger, for the introduction there. Bear with me as I pull up our slides. All right. Well, thanks for the introduction there. We're excited to share information today. We have Cheryl and I's titles today, and thanks, Ginger, for sharing a little bit more about how we've engaged with advanced care planning over the years together and our different programs. I think we'll dive right in to our agenda for today. So we look forward to sharing about the advanced care planning process and the advanced directive documents that are specific to healthcare decision-making and information sharing. We won't be talking about anything legal financial in nature, strictly legal medical decision-making and discussion. The value and importance of conversation. We'll dive into the myths and truths that are common to this topic. We'll talk about when to review and potentially update your advanced directives, as well as additional resources that are available in the community for furthering your advanced care planning process.
We just wanted to ask too if you could hold your questions until the end, because We will have plenty of time to answer your questions, and it's possible that we might answer those questions during the presentation. So let's start with, what is advanced care planning? So it is the preparation of your healthcare in advance of a medical crisis where you are not able to speak for yourself. So it starts with self-reflection. What is it that you value? What are your priorities? What are your wishes for your care and comfort? And when you have that all decided on what you want, then the next step is to have a conversation with your loved ones about what your wishes are, so that it can avoid any assumptions being made that somebody might think, oh, I know her well enough, I know what she would need or that he would need. It is a good way to let them know exactly what type of care that you want if you can't speak for yourself. The next step after the conversation is documenting your wishes. So you put them into a legal form that we're going to talk about today, the medical durable power of attorney and the living will, so that your wishes can be implemented and that they can be honored and respected. These documents, these advance directives, are for anyone who is 18 and older, because a medical crisis can happen at any time. So regardless of your state of health, it's important, particularly in Colorado, because we're one of the few states that the decision maker is not automatically given to your partner or your spouse. There is no default decision maker in Colorado. So these forms become really, really important. So anyone 18 and older should have the documents, especially a medical durable power of attorney, in place. We have a short video that talks about the importance of conversations and how to avoid assumptions that are sometimes made. We're going to try to see if no, we're not. We're going to bypass it. Unfortunately, we had some little snafus. It worked great during our practice run, but in real time, we're having some difficulty. So we're going to bypass the video. It's very short, but steer you to the website where we got the video, which is theconversationproject.org, a really great website that has resources and tools that can help you get started with having the conversation. They have a conversation starter toolkit. There's a questionnaire that guides you through questions with regards to the type of healthcare, pain management, and it gives you a start that you can even hand off to your loved ones so they know what you want. The resources on this website, they are in Spanish as well, and they have great videos like the one we're hoping to show you that you can watch, and they're very short, but they emphasize and bring out the message of why a conversation is so important in the process of planning for your advanced directives. That's theconversationproject.org, a good reference.
Great. So once you have reflected with yourself about your values and preferences and started to talk with your loved ones, we hope you will also consider completing advanced directives for healthcare. Documents we'll talk about today include the medical durable power of attorney, also known as the MDPOA. We'll talk about the living will. This is separate from your last will and testament. We'll talk about the declaration of disposition of last remains and the donor registry. Very interesting that at age 16 and 18, we make a choice about organ and tissue donation and engage with advanced directives, but the rest of these documents go largely unspoken. I also want to highlight two related physician-ordered documents, including the CPR directive and the MOST form. We'll spend the majority of our time today talking about the medical durable power of attorney, but do be aware that there are documents that capture your preference for less aggressive medical treatment. This is something we suggest you bring up with your doctor as their signature is required for their validity. So let's talk about the medical durable power of attorney a little further. This we believe to be the most important form for everyone age 18 and older. You have the opportunity to name a primary healthcare agent and up to 2 alternates. This person would be able to speak on your behalf if you could not speak for yourself medically. Whether that's a temporary situation or long-term end-of-life scenario, this MDPOA applies and this person is needed. Cheryl mentioned there's no default in Colorado as to who can speak on another adult's behalf. When this document is not completed and the patient is unable to speak for themselves, the hospital will gather all interested parties and ask that group of people to elect a temporary decision maker, a proxy temporary person. If that group cannot come to a decision, it could move on to a guardianship battle within the court system. All of that can be avoided by having this one piece of paper identifying someone to be your advocate for healthcare decision-making. Once this person is acting on your behalf, this person is able to guide your care, guiding what treatments you receive, for how long, and where. So this person needs to know what your preferences are and what you expect of them when you cannot speak for yourself. So the Conversation Project tools will help you have that discussion and share with that person. You can change your healthcare agent, that is the term of your decision maker, at any time by filling out a new document. Things change, relationships change, so it's good to update this over time. And this form does not require witnesses or notary to be valid within Colorado. However, if you do a bit of travel out of state, we do recommend both 2 witnesses and a notary. Do know you have the option of electronically signing this document. My Health Connection through UCHealth is an option and ensures your document is available throughout the whole hospital system. It's important to share this form with local hospitals, no matter where you live, so that it's on file and available if it's needed.
And just to mention too, your healthcare agent does not have to live in the state. They can be out of town and they can even be out of the country.
Thank
It's
you.
all by telephone, so don't worry about trying to get somebody local.
So we have a few qualities for you to consider as you think of who you could ask to be your agent. The only rule in Colorado is that this person be age 18 or older. We hope you'll also choose someone who knows you well, remains calm in crisis, someone who you trust to carry out your wishes, regardless of their personal beliefs, someone who will be a good advocate for you and ask questions, do the research before making a choice, and someone who will communicate well with your providers and your other loved ones. You'll notice here that lives in town or is a family member. Those are not qualities listed here. We hope you'll consider these other qualities no matter where that person lives, but more so that relationship to you.
The next directive that we're going to talk about is the living will. As we mentioned, it is not the same as the last will and testament. It gets confused with that often. The last will and testament is for after you have died with regards to your possessions. The living will is while you are still legally alive. And this speaks to your preferences with regard to artificial life support, the ventilation, hydration, tubation, things to keep you alive. It does require the document is implemented after 2 doctors have diagnosed that you are not expected to come back to baseline function and that you are in the last phases of either a terminal illness or you are in a persistent vegetative state. And it goes into effect. There's a little bit of a grace period, about 48 hours before your preferences are implemented. And this will give you your choice of whether to continue life support or discontinue life support. And you also have the option of stating a goal. Perhaps your goal is to continue life support for so many days, or you would like to stay on life support until loved ones have a chance to say goodbye. So you can personalize it as to what you would like. And the form also has the option of other preferences at the end. If you would like to go to hospice, you can state that you'd like to go home, you'd like to have special comfort at the end, or your pet. So you can customize it and tailor it to what your wishes are. And there's also space to indicate that your healthcare agent has the option to override your wishes, or you have the option of stating that you want your wishes to be carried out exactly as they are in the document. You also have the option to indicate organ and tissue donation. This form does require 2 witnesses to make it legal, people who are not interested in you or or that they're not related to you. So 2 witnesses to make it legal. There is an option for a notary. It's not necessary, but again, it's encouraged. Just looking to see if I covered all the high points. I think so. This one is really the end of life document. One of the popular documents that's out there for that people use is called the 5 Wishes. You can find it on their website, 5wishes.org. This little booklet has both the medical durable power of attorney as well as the living will. And then it also includes pages for you to talk about personal wishes after you are gone. And so it has everything together that takes you beyond your life. And it's all complete in one booklet. The medical durable power of attorney and the living will does need to have 2 witnesses on it. And you can then, that does become legal, but everything is all together in one document. And you can download, I think that there is a price for downloading it, but you can ask to have a copy mailed as well. But it's a nice place to have everything organized from the beginning of your healthcare wishes to the end as well. And so it's very easy for somebody just to have one thing with everything all together. It makes it a little bit more organized. We also want to mention that when your documents are completed, it's a good idea to share them with your family members so that everyone knows who is your healthcare agent. People will want to be able to get a hold of this document. So it's advisable not to keep it in a lockbox. because it's so important, especially the MDPOA in Colorado, to be able to have this document at hand and find it very quickly is very important. So keep it handy, or let people know where they can find it. You might want to share it with your doctor. And if you get to the hospitals, they can easily put it into your medical records. Makes it so much easier when the time comes for them to expedite your healthcare much quicker. And I know UCHealth, when Kat does it, she will get it into the UCHealth medical records, which really makes it a nice added value to have that done.
I'd like to add that there are many versions of advanced directives out there. 5 Wishes is one version, and prior to this, we talked about the MDPOA and Living Will as separate documents. So it's important to consider what version might be best for you, and that's part of what we can help with when we work one-on-one with folks to apply what type of advanced directive is best. So we have some information on burial and donation. Another advanced directive document that's available is the Colorado Declaration of Disposition of Last Remains. When we think about making a thorough plan, it's important to consider legal financial decision-making, which we're not talking about today, legal medical decisions and documents, and what to do after we pass. So if we make funeral plans or designate someone to take care of those arrangements, good to talk about it with our loved ones and document what we can. So this declaration of disposition of last remains would be a step in the right direction with funeral planning. It does not set you up with a specific service or plan, but it does allow you to say your preference of burial versus cremation, where you would like your remains to be, and maybe identifying a person to carry out those arrangements. So that is a step in the right direction with funeral planning. Also, we've talked a couple times about organ donation and how that applies to this planning. Just important that the donor registry available at donatelifecolorado.org matches all of your instructions in the living will, and that your healthcare agent knows what you expect at end of life. Very interestingly, not everyone will be an organ donor, but the majority of us can be tissue donors. And older skin, as it lacks elasticity over time, becomes very valuable to burn victims. So if you're on the fence about being a donor, just know that tissues like skin, cornea, tendons, ligaments can be very valuable to others. We also have some information on brain and body donation. These are services where you can make the gift of your body after you pass, and they will further research and education and science. And once they have finished with their processes, they will provide cremation and return your remains to your loved ones if you wish. So we have a lot of options when it comes to when we pass, what we want done with our remains. So we'll move on now to our myths and truths.
We might have already touched on a few of these, but it's worth to emphasize some of the messaging again. The advanced care planning is only for the elderly or terminally ill. We did talk about that a medical crisis can happen at any time, and that the medical durable power of attorney is especially important in Colorado for anybody 18 and older. So the advanced care planning and the advanced directives is for anyone at any state of their health, and 18 and older, that the document is really important in Colorado. And I want to share a story. I assisted a mother and her 23-year-old son with completing their medical durable power of attorneys. The son was in a serious motorcycle accident and he had serious head injuries and he was in a coma. And the mother ran into the hospital and asked how they could be saving his life. He needed to be transferred to the Denver Brain Center, but the hospital said that they had to pause before they transferred him because he didn't have an MDPOA on file and there was no healthcare agent designated. So the mother had to get everyone in the family to sign the proxy stating who they wanted to elect as his healthcare agent. It took several days before he could be transferred. And fortunately, the family all elected that it was the mother. And in this event that there is a family member or anyone who's interested in your life comes forward to say that they think somebody else should be the spokesperson or that they think they should be the spokesperson, that puts the proxy process into another level, into a legal situation, and that could be more costly. And of course, it takes more time before you can get the medical treatment that you need. So in this case, he did come out of the coma, fortunately, and they came to get their MDPOAs completed because they did not ever want to do this, have to go through this again. Every second counted for him to go to the Denver Brain Center, but it had to be on pause until all of the documents were returned.
Another common myth, talking about advanced care planning can worry our loved ones. While there might be some truth to that, there has been research to find that talking and making plans for a future time can bring peace of mind and relieve the burden of the person who is left to make decisions. So we can strengthen our relationships, we can make our values and preferences known, and your conversation doesn't have to be all at once. It can be good to have one piece at a time over time so that our loved ones are clear on what matters to us and our expectations. I believe that once you open that door, it becomes easier to discuss over time. And our loved ones are not left guessing.
Or assuming.
Or assuming, right? They have been able to speak with us on what matters and have an idea of what's expected. I have a personal story of that. My grandmother lives in Oregon, and when I go to visit, I know where her advance directives are. I know what's expected when I'm there. I'm not a decision maker, but I know who is. And so we're all better off knowing what's expected when we're all together.
Another common myth is that you need an attorney to complete your advance directives. And the truth is that, in the short answer, no, you don't need an attorney for the medical durable power of attorney or the living will. It is very often included if you have an attorney to complete your last will and testament, or you've got an attorney for estate planning. They will often include that in there as an entire package of documents that you might need. So often it happens, but if you are not ready to have all of your estate organized and for the sake of the Colorado's no default situation with MDPOAs, you can just complete the form, you can sign it, it's legal, you don't need an attorney, and you don't need to spend the attorney fees for doing it.
Here we go. As a parent or spouse, I will automatically have the power to make decisions for my child or spouse. We've covered this a few times already, so I imagine you know the truth. There is no default as to who can speak on another adult's behalf. So important that we name the person we want to be our advocate. And a great document would have a primary decision maker and at least one backup to your primary. In case you're with them and something happens, you have a backup person also named.
Next myth. Once you've got your plan, it's one and done, and you don't need to change it. It would be great if there were never any changes in your life, but often there are changes because your designated healthcare spokesperson may be different. Maybe there's a divorce, maybe there's a death, that you will need to change your document. You can do it at any time when there's a change, and you can, it doesn't require, you just need your signature to make it legal. Also, if your values have changed, you might want to change your documents. I know for me, I think differently about my wishes and my priorities now than I did much earlier in my life. And it makes it easy with these documents to change at any time because there's been a change in your life, a change in your healthcare person, you've moved to another state, there's been a death or possibly a divorce. So it's easy to do. And
the process would include just filling out a new form, which revokes and cancels your prior form. So to keep your records straight, you could fill out a new document and get rid of what you had done in the past. Another common myth, I've identified an emergency contact. Surely they can help me and make decisions for me. The truth on an emergency contact is that they would be notified, certainly, of your health issue, but they would not be a decision maker unless you also named them on the medical durable power of attorney form to be a decision maker.
Another myth that we did cover, which is the last will of testament versus the living will. It's typical and common that an attorney will include that with your estate planning. That can happen, but it is different from a last will and testament. So it's good to have your wishes with regards to the end of life preferences in the living will document.
If you have completed a general power of attorney in the past, it would be important to read the language there to see if that general power of attorney addresses financial decision-making and medical or just financial, because these documents can be done separately or one and the same. So if you have done a last will and testament, estate planning, good to look through those documents and be sure of what they say.
We talked about being able to change your directives at any time. So it is an ongoing process. If you've changed your values and your priorities, or there are changes in your life, nice to kind of review it at every decade when you reach a new milestone. If there's been a death or a divorce, if you've been diagnosed with a specific medical condition, or there's been a decline in your health, or you are leaving to another state, is an ongoing process that's easy to do. We talked about the importance of keeping the conversation going and being able to articulate your wishes of exactly it is that you desire. we have a little cartoon. I'll read it just so that it can get translated. It is a couple who is watching television, and the husband has the remote, and he says to his wife, you know, if I ever get into a vegetative state and depend on a machine, I don't ever want that to happen. If that does, I want you to just pull the plug. So the wife gets up and walks behind the television and pulls the plug. But it's not really what the husband had wanted with regards to pulling the plug. He meant something else, but she interpreted it and assumed it was with regards to the television. So articulating your wishes, keeping the conversation going is very much encouraged and recommended.
We have some further resources for you to consider. A few options for furthering your research. All of these are focused on Colorado information. If you are out of state and looking for a local resource, you can find a local area agency on aging. The C4A website is down below, where you can search nationwide for an area agency on aging. A few resources to highlight here. We talked about the conversationproject.org. That would be a fabulous place for you to begin reflecting with yourself on values and preferences. And we mentioned the 5 wishes. Their information is here. If you do want to learn more about CPR directives and most forms, the newest Colorado resource for that is the Civic website that's listed here. So these are wonderful websites, free, credible information that have informed our talk today and could be helpful to you as well.
Before we go into the questions, I wanted to make a comment that with regards to solo agers, because that is very common now with people who are aging on their own and may not have family members, but and it's important that documents are still completed. For some people, it's very difficult. They feel that there is absolutely nobody that they could designate as their spokesperson, but there are some things that you can do, and writing out your wishes is a good way to get it in writing what you want with your health care. Another option that is used more today is the use of video, and that you can videotape what it is that you want with your healthcare wishes. So for solo agers, there's some groups that are forming that could help support and people who would be willing to be your healthcare agent. One situation, I had somebody didn't have any family, but I asked her who her emergency contact was. And she says, just somebody who comes to feed my cat if I'm in the hospital. And I encouraged her to reach out to that person to see if she would be willing to take on that role. And it turns out that she was. So sometimes there's a hesitancy or thinking that somebody may not be willing, but they're a little more open when they know what your wishes are, or that you have a written document or a video somewhere that they could use.
Great.
Are you ready?
I think we're ready. We'll take on questions. Oh, Ginger, I think you're muted.
Oh, there we go, of course. Thanks, Kat. Thanks, Cheryl. Great presentation. Before we head into questions, I just want to remind everybody that we do have in the chat our links for the evaluation survey in both English and Spanish. And please continue to send in your questions in our Q&A feature. All right, so first question we have here. Can the 5 wishes be photocopied and still be a legal document?
Can the 5 wishes be photocopied and still legal? So we encourage you to fill out an original that is signed and at minimum witnessed by 2 disinterested folks. You can also choose notary, which is advised for travel. Copies are meant to be respected the same as the original that is written into the law. So yes, a photocopy of your completed document is acceptable and encouraged that you take a photocopy with you when you travel. There is no national registry for advance directives, so it's up to us to make that available. Digital copies are great as well. I keep my parents' documents on my cell phone as an image, so I can show whoever's asking for that wherever I am. So electronic and paper copies are valid, yes.
And I just thought of another comment with regards to the documents, and you're going to be changing them, and the photocopies are good, but make sure that if you are going to change your documents, that they are fresh and brand new and not crossed out with your initials on them, because that is not accepted, because it looks like the documents were tampered with. So if you are going to make changes, start with fresh documents, give everybody the copies that they need, and the copies are fine, but white out, crossing through won't be accepted when the time comes.
Great details. Thank you. Let's see. Can you send an email out with the live links from the presentation and a copy of the slides? Absolutely. So after this, everyone will get a copy of the recording in both English and Spanish. We will include the video from today, a PDF of the slides, which includes the links to everything. And yeah, you have a ton of resources coming out today. You guys shared a ton of resources, Cheryl and Kat, so we appreciate that. All right, a couple more questions coming in. Thank you for sharing the difference between a living will and a last will. Let's see, here's another one. Could a chat GPT created document with a person's wishes be used as advance directives and a POA?
That's a great question I've not had before, and I don't know. I think it's important that your document reference the law in the state that you live in. And I'm not sure that ChatGPT would do that for you. It's also good to use forms that are recognized where you live and travel. While there are advance directives nationwide and in other countries, it really benefits you to do something that's familiar to your local provider of healthcare.
Great. Okay, here's another one that just popped in. If one is to make a folder of all these documents, what do you suggest is a realistic title for others to know what it is?
Someone makes a folder of these documents. There are a handful of tools available for storage of your documents. One item comes to mind. It's the File of Life, and it's a plastic pouch. It could be magnetic and put on your refrigerator where emergency responders are trained to look. So I imagine you could call your folder the File of Life, and that could be familiar to emergency responders. The File of Life also comes in a small wallet-sized pouch that you can take with your passport, take it with you when you travel in the glove box of your car, purse, wallet. So that's one option of a pre-made pouch. And then it comes with an insert of information about who you are and how to treat you best in case of emergency. So you can put copies of your documents in, with, or near your File of Life at home and when you travel. There are other companies, Knoxbox is one of them, where they will send you a plastic tub with pre-labeled file folders of important documents to have ready in case of emergency, both health-wise and disaster-wise. So there are a few templates out there, but yes, you can build your own binder folder however you want. I think File of Life would be nationally recognized. I've also had people make theirs big, bright red. Red is often associated with healthcare emergency. Yeah. Do you have any ideas?
I just label mine advanced directives,
Mhm.
and it sits upright on my bookcase so that it's front and center and people going into my office can see it right away.
Great, thanks for sharing. I would also like to add, through my work as a state program specialist, we have a healthy aging work team at CSU Extension, and right now we are piloting the development of a similar type resource for Coloradoans using, free resources that are available to Coloradoans to include advanced directives, but also what are other things that, caregivers or individuals need to take into account, especially in an emergency, such as what are all the medical equipment that I need to have? Where's my medication list? Are there precious documents that may not be advanced directives, but birth certificates, bank accounts, passwords? What are all the things that we don't necessarily think of, but really need in an emergency? So we are working through the development of that right now through CSU Extension. So hopefully over the next year or so, we should have that available.
I'd be happy to share with you a tool, and we can include a PDF of this if you'd like. We have developed My Gift of Information. It's a booklet that lets you answer questions like that. List of medications, my values history, passwords, where your planning documents are. So I'd be happy to share that with our group today and with you, Ginger, in case that helps as you build that tool.
Okay, let me check the Q&A one more time. Let's see. We have, it looks like it says there, I think there's something available through individual EMRs or electronic medical records to let your medical team know of your wishes. Is that correct?
There has been some developments, at least through UCHealth, I can share. It's called Getting to Know Me. You'll either be asked getting to know me questions when you are hospitalized, inpatient, or you can fill out some information within My Health Connection. That's the patient portal through UCHealth. I can't speak to what other hospitals are doing, but yes, that has been an important development over time.
So another question, do you offer classes to lead a person through the documents in person?
Yes, and that actually leads to my last slide. The Aspen Club provides education and one-on-one assistance throughout Northern Colorado. So we run classes that are virtual, we run classes that are in person, and typically after a class, folks will join us for a one-on-one appointment. All of these services are free. During an appointment, we will provide witnesses and notary. We will offer to share your documents with local hospitals and providers. So that is our way of trying to help make this as simple and straightforward as possible. So my contact is here if you have further questions or would like to schedule an appointment. We are specific to Northern Colorado, and I do recommend the Area Agency on Aging to point you toward other local resources wherever you are.
Great. Thank you so much. It looks like that's the end of our questions and the end of our session. I just want to thank both you, Kat and Cheryl, for joining us today. Just a quick reminder, we would love for you to fill out our evaluation. It should take 2 to 3 minutes tops. You'll get it when you close the screen here, it'll automatically pop up. It'll also come in your follow-up email. I would also like to thank Allie Eden with Language Justice Matters for providing interpretation and translation services for this series. And lastly, I'd like to remind everyone of our upcoming webinar next month. It will be focused on digital access, and we're excited to see you. So have a great day, and we'll see you next time.